All right, guys, I think we're live here and good to go. Tyson, man, the Jets are freaking 0-3. Obviously, it's not great. Um, I think there was probably one big, maybe shining light or positive from that Bucks game. But for the most part of the day, right, the majority of the game, it was a lot of the same stuff that we saw in week one and week two, especially on the defense side of the football. Lots of negatives. And, I went to the game. I was thinking at halftime, it's over. Like, I don't like sitting here as a fan thinking to myself, okay, a two-score lead is just insurmountable. Like, it's impossible to come back from. And even if the offense somehow gets in for seven, I have no faith in the defense to actually hold the opposing offense, scoring TDs, kicking field goals, and whatnot. And yes, of course, the Jets came back. We're obviously gonna dive into it and everything, but they could not secure the victory. So, yeah, Dolphins Monday night. But outside of that, man, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It was, to me, I was, for the most part, disappointed from Sunday's performance because for 3 quarters of that game, it was unwatchable. It was pathetic. It was ridiculous. And I was disgusted. They got lucky on two things. They got lucky that Todd Bowles took the foot off the gas, and they got lucky with Will McDonald's block kick. Not being, I'm probably come off overly negative, but that's what really happened. Todd Bowles, which we know he did this for the Jets too. They had a nice, comfortable lead, took the foot off the gas. The Jets took advantage of it. The big play by Will McDonald, then the heartbreaking loss. But for the most part, they haven't played well, dude. You look at how many quarters of this season. They played 3 games, 12 quarters, right? Of those, they probably played, 5 good quarters of the 12? They haven't really played that much good football, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, we've seen like a lot of bad from both the offense and the defense. But for me personally, man, we've obviously talked a lot about it, over texting and stuff like that over the past 3 weeks. Personally, for me, man, I'm just a lot more pissed at the defense
Yep.
than the offense. Yeah, I know it's an offensive league. I understand we have to score points and stuff, but when I think about the current situation that the Jets are in offensively, where it's a question mark at the quarterback position, we're seeing if Fields has it, if he can be the guy moving forward. One of the games it was, we didn't even have Fields. Wide receiver depth, major issue. I mean, I would say depth is probably a problem overall when I look at the offense outside of running back. Uh, Wide receiver, tight end,
Everything we
tackle.
talked about the entire offseason. Let's be
Yeah,
honest, dude. Literally every legitimate concern we talked about in May, in June, in July, in August has come to fruition. That's what's happened. Think about it. Wide receiver, Josh Reynolds hasn't played the last 2 weeks. Wide receiver is it's like a bunch of ghosts out there. Tyler Johnson is wide open, he drops it. Alan Lazard almost drops a touchdown. Nothing at wide receiver. Stone Smart is even on a team anymore. Tight end position, barren. What did we say? You're one Jermaine Johnson injury away from being in trouble. There you are. Now you have that. Like the overall depth and the approach to building this roster is biting them in the ass right now. And this was our concern. This isn't second guessing, dude. We've talked about this. So now it comes down to who's on your practice squad, who's your depth guys, and they better be able to play football. And you better be able to coach them up. Because if you can't coach them up, you're going to get embarrassed week in and week out. Because we're seeing some pedestrian-ass defense right now. They really are, dude. Like, think about what you saw from Steve Wilks' defense. And it's not, listen, I'm just a fan. You have analysts all over the NFL talking about this. Tony Romo ripped them to shreds. Jonathan Vilma ripped them to shreds. Everybody's saying, what are they doing? John Gruden thrashed them. Too vanilla, not disguising, and the tackling is piss poor after a very physical training camp. Like, dude, this is disgusting.
Well, let me just ask you this question. At some point, when do we start blaming the players over the coaches? Because we've seen it with Saleh, we've seen it with Ulbrich,
Exactly right.
and now we're seeing it with a completely new coach, new scheme, new play caller here in Steve Wilks and Aaron Glenn. It's not like we're in this major transition mode where the roster is built for like a 4-3 and we're trying to force it into a 3-4 or anything. And,
right.
We have like 60%, 70% of the defense that are like playing out of position, right? We're asking like bigger defensive ends to like stand up and drop back into coverage. It's not like that, man. Like, you look at the defense, they fit what they're trying to do. Steve Wilks has called this defense. Could it actually be the players? Because this is 3 straight years, and granted, it's only 3 games, but it's 2 years and 3 games in with 3 separate defensive, minds running the show, and the same problems are continuing to pop up over and over and over and over again. At what point do we start blaming players?
And that's a incredible question, because I'm starting to think that as Jet fans, we have grossly overrated these players. Where Michael Carter second, we were happy he got that contract. We both talked about it. Wait, get this guy locked up, one of the top slot corners in the NFL. He hasn't played good since then. He's been hurt. He's been terrible, dude. Sauce Gardner, we're like, oh, Aaron Glenn's going to be here. He's going to tighten it up. He's going to play a lot better. Sauce Gardner hasn't been good. Then you look at, we are Brandon Stevens and Andre Sisco are as advertised. They're not good. But to your point though, the defensive line, you have, Quinton Williams, Harrison Phillips, Briggs is good. But Jamien Sherwood, love the player, leader last year, captain, not playing well. So it's at some point, look at all the money they're making and look at the performance you're getting out of all of them. And it's a comprehensive mess. And it's becoming concerning that I honestly think and the thing is, and to your point, last year we saw the same thing, man. Poor tackling, poor angles, piss poor effort at times. We're seeing pretty much the same thing now after the tough physical camp. So it's like, it could be the players at points too.
Man, it's so frustrating, right? Because you're looking at the defense again. And by the way, I know the title of the stream is recapping today's moves. We're going to dive into that. We just needed to kind of come on here and just have this,
get it out,
vent session. But dude, first round pick after first round pick after first round pick after first round, like there's first rounders loaded into this defense. There's millions upon millions of dollars that is being spent on this defense. Like this is like a high price defense. Again, Wilkes is not Tanner Instrument, where it's just like, all right, I'm trying to, learn on the fly here. I'm flying, by the seat of my pants. Like I'm trying to figure this thing out, and I'm, constantly growing. Now Wilkes has been around for a long time. Calling plays shouldn't overwhelm him. He's worked with some really awesome football minds, really awesome defensive coaches as well. And, it just like if you're just looking at that formula, it should equate to a good defense. Now, I guess it can technically change this Monday, because I think the quality of the opponent here, the Miami Dolphins, is lesser than the Bucs, Bills, and the Steelers. But the bottom line is it should be better. Even if the Jets go out and play average, it doesn't excuse the first 3 weeks. Yes, of course, they're learning a new system, but you just don't see a defense with tons of all-pros, tons of first-round picks, tons of free agent dollars invested into a unit to be one of the worst in football. That makes absolutely zero sense.
Dude, they have no turnovers in 3 weeks.
I know.
That's absurd. 3 weeks. No, they can't recover a fumble, no interceptions. And I don't know, man. To me, that Bucky Irvin play last week kind of defined what this Jets team is. When you have 8 guys over pursuing, he cuts back and they're like a bunch of little green ants sitting there.
Yep.
That's peewee football, dude. Joe Blewett on social media is doing a phenomenal job of breaking down all the film for this. Dude, this is fundamental football, man. This isn't you're not getting out schemed by some high X's and those things. It's vanilla defense, and they're still blowing it. And I don't understand how it could be this bad. But to me, it's how do you fix it? Tackle better? They had a physical camp. That wasn't the answer. To me, it's you have to make personnel changes. And I would be aggressive with it. Aaron Glenn talked about accountability. Well, your team is an absolute mess on defense. Now, injuries are going to force you to make changes, but I make changes anyway, right? You're going to have to. Because if you're not, you're going to get blown out week in and week out.
Yeah, and to that point, whose job is the new corner taking? Yeah, so the Jets acquired, obviously, Jarvis Brownlee. I freaking love the trade. I don't think he's going to be coming in and just starting immediately, even though Brownlee is the starter. Say what?
He's hurt, though, isn't he?
I don't think he's 100%, but I have read some things that the Titans were just kind of fed up with the penalties, despite him being super young and
he'll everything. Fit right in here then.
Yeah, I mean, still though, I like the. Would you rather have Brownlee, or would you rather just no news today?
No. I listen. You have a year 2, 24 years old, a ton of talent, young player. But to me, it's I understand the trade. I like it, but to me, my instant reaction after Sunday was Stevens goes to safety, AZ Thomas plays corner. You drafted a kid with potential. I like to see him get chances this starting Monday night. Like I'm
He
like,
looked good, dude. He looked good. And, you're watching the game. It was what? Like 6, 7, maybe like 10, 12 plays or something with Azaria Thomas. But, I mean, he had a pass breakup almost. Like he had his hand on the football. I think it was against Ibuka. I felt like Thomas looked solid, man. Length, like hip to hip. I really liked what I personally saw.
so and you look at, to me, you're trying to fit like how you can adjust this. So it's like you put AZ Thomas there, Brandon Stevens at safety. Cisco's been a complete liability, dude. Cisco has been absolutely awful. And then you have Malachi Moore. So you got to keep rotating around. But then it's like, then who do you put in this? Are they trying to find a guy to put in the slot? Because Michael Carter hasn't been good either. Sauce is banged up. Maybe the concussion thing's going to linger. Who knows there? Like, there's a lot of moving parts. But I think AZ Thomas got to be part of the equation, man. If you're going to have a lost season where you're losing week in and week out, lose young, get these guys as much experience as possible to see what you truly have.
See, I feel like it's too early just to commit to the full young guy because like CJ Gardner-Johnson's out there. I would rather the Jets throw the kitchen sink at the defense. If they see a veteran out there, if they like him, they want to add him, cool. Before just saying, screw it, young guys are in.
Yeah, but you're not saying screw it. I mean, if you think Malachi Moore is a good player, let him play. If AZ Thomas is a good player, let him play. Like, at least give him a chance. They're here already. But I'm not opposed to making other moves. But like, I don't want to see this team being arrogant and so stubborn that, well, we gave Brandon Stevens $12 million a year. He's got to play. Or we gave Cisco $10 million. No, I don't care. Genuinely don't care. You got to own your mistakes, own them early, and move on. That's what good teams really do. Or hold them accountable and say, you know what? We're going to split reps with you now. So you're not going to play the full game. You're going to, like AZ Thomas comes in every other series, something like that. Just change it up and just make it different, dude. Because the defense isn't working at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of different examples of just like accountability with like high-end teams. I guess we can maybe point to like when the Buffalo Bills drafted Kyer Elam in the first round and he got beat out by Christian Benford, who I believe was like a 6th rounder or something. And they just said like, I think halfway through the year, like Benford, you're in.
Yep.
Not like completely giving up on Elam, but just like we're making the switch. Like Benford is outplaying you. Yes, you were a first-round pick, but it is what it is. The tape doesn't lie.
But my question for you is, if you have this hard-nosed, hard-ass approach where you're going to talk about accountability, you got to earn your reps, you got to earn your time, and then as a team, you watch the tape, they're really good watching the tape right now, you watch it and you see liabilities on the field. How do you tell your players to their eye, all right, Michael Clemens, you're still our starter. Brandon Stevens, you're still our guy. How do you say it when they all like, bro, this guy's killing us. He sucks. It's a fine line, dude. If they know you're a liability and you keep trotting him back out there, when another guy's kind of biting, you kind of like right there with him.
I just think it's a little too early to be.
So when is it? How many games to make a change? How many losses?
Well, I mean, personally, I don't have like that line in the sand where it's just like, okay, by 7 weeks or anything. But I would say, well, I mean, I guess it does vary from position by position because it's not like our stars are playing well either on defense, right? Quinn is doing his thing, but we've had some quiet moments from Will McDonald. I mean, Gardner was just torched against Tampa, man. He was torched. I mean, Michael Carter, again, doesn't look like the same player. He looks like a shell of himself. I'm stunned by that. That, to me, just makes I don't know what happened there. And what Jets Indy, I wish we did that trade for a wide receiver. We need pass catchers. I would have liked to see Azaria Thomas. Look, if the Jets want to go out and say, okay, AZ Thomas is the starter, cool. I'm fine with it, right? Wide receiver, there's just no options.
Nope.
Practice squad elevation, trade. Like, you just kind of feel like at this point, no team is going to be trading a good wide receiver. If we're going to be targeting a wide receiver, we're probably going to have to wait till the trade deadline, which is in, I don't know, 7 weeks or 6 weeks or something. They pushed it back this year. I think it's week 10, actually, this year.
Yeah, it's
which is what, like probably first week of November or mid-November or something. I don't know. It's later on in the year. But, like, throw out a wide receiver that someone can trade, like Juwan Jennings, right? Expiring deal. San Francisco is not going to be dealing him right now. Alec Pierce, right? He's on an expiring deal. Indy at 3-0, they're not going to be dealing him. So wide receiver, it's a freaking massive need, dude. It drives me crazy. Allen Lazard had like the easiest touchdown grab of all time, and he almost dropped it. I was holding my breath, in the stands. You had the Tyler Johnson drop. It's just super important. And Josh Reynolds, of course, is hurt. Josh Reynolds on any other team would probably be wide receiver 3 to 4.
Yep.
Not the go-to wide receiver 2. So yeah, man, wide receiver is definitely a position that needs to be addressed in due time. I think the one bright spot is after the year, once free agency opens up, there are like probably 4 to 5 options that come in and are boom, immediate upgrades. But if we're talking right now, I just don't feel like there is a viable option out there where the Jets are going to be buying low.
Is your microphone on? Is your microphone on? Did you turn it off? Your voice just changed.
No, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It kind of faded away a little bit.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or your Wi-Fi or something.
No, it just sounds like it's the microphone. Like your microphone wasn't like it just. I don't know. Something changed on it. I agree. Yeah, I agree with the wide receiver, and the offense is a concern. But to me, the defense is by and far the biggest problem on this team, especially now after all the injuries. I mean, if you're going to give up 30 points a week, dude, you're not going to be able to compete with many teams. You're just not going to be able to because this Jets offense isn't built to score 30 points a week. It's going to be ground and pound, slow, this and that. And you look at what happened, and you have concerns. The secondary is a complete disappointment on every different level. And now the linebacker core, which hasn't been that good, Quincy Williams was probably the best of all of them, making plays and getting hits to the quarterback and doing all that. Now he's out. And then McCrary Ball, the backup, he's out. So now you're down to Jamin Sherwood at linebacker and a cast of characters. You may be signing a guy and playing him on Sunday. That's where they're at right now at linebacker.
By the way,
now you're better.
I swapped the mic. Does it sound a little bit better?
A lot better.
Some reason it was connected to my phone. My phone's in my pocket. So probably when I leaned back, it moved on the pocket. But yeah, dude, Indy, bro, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the 5. Means a lot. But yeah, dude, we're starting to get banged up with injuries. But even dude, Quincy out there, it's still not a good unit. I mean, if you want, I can pull up some exact numbers to really, highlight where the Jets exactly are at. When it comes to the rest of the league, these numbers are not good. It's not.
And the thing is, you look at who they played. They played against a Tampa Bay team behind a completely decimated offensive line. Mike Evans got hurt. Chris Godwin wasn't playing. There was the preview to the game was pretty much dominate the line of scrimmage, beat up Baker Mayfield, and have solid coverage. You should be okay. And they got lucky. Kate Otten had a bad drop. He catches that. They were literally getting blown out by the Buccaneers, which to me is ridiculous. Not discounting Tampa Bay, quality team, but going into the Jets had advantages. They didn't take advantage of any of them on defense, except that Todd Bowles just backed off, and the Jets took advantage of that. But defensively, they're a mess, man. And now when you're down 2 starters, maybe 3, this is going to be scary against a Miami Dolphin team, dude.
So let's just rattle off some basic numbers here. The Jets are 28th in opposing points per game, allowing 31 points per game on average. Not good at all, right? That's literally bottom 5. They are, 22nd. So below average in opposing or opponents' yards per game, 340. Surprisingly, they're actually 9th in opposing third down conversion percentage. That's a positive, top 10 there. They are one of the worst teams in the league on allowing teams on 4th down to convert. They haven't stopped a 4th down this season. Let's see here. They are 31st in opposing rushes per game. So they are, other teams are really trying to establish the run and running it down the Jets' throats. Let's see here. They are they're 19th in sacks. Okay, average. A turnover margin 28th. So yeah, the takeaways is just they're not happening. Nope. And that's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean they don't and you look at what is the strength of the defense? With Jermaine, this dude, that was exactly my point. What is the absolute strength of this defense if Jermaine Johnson's not playing? It's watch out for Harrison Phillips and Quentin Williams, and then have fun because nobody else. You're not scared of nobody else. The quarterbacks are literally attacking Sauce Gardner now. They're not scared of Sauce Gardner anymore. They're not scared of Mike Carter. They're not scared of Stevens. The linebackers can't cover. The safeties can't cover. The Dolphins' blueprint to beat us is so friggin' easy because we can't tackle and we can't cover. quick screen passes, quick slants, and just run. That's what it's going to be, dude. We can't cover running backs or tight ends. I'm coming off negative, but just what we've seen for 3 weeks now. It's been one of the worst defenses in football.
Yeah, Rich. Lazard barely caught that pass. Oh, horrible. Let me ask you this curveball type of question, just kind of like a different angle to look at the defense from. Is there a chance that Steve Wilkes is calling this super vanilla, super basic defense because he does not have confidence in these players? And also, to that point, do you think the reason why, because today is not the first day that the Jets have added a corner. Like, you go back, like, you kind of felt like the Jets were, picking up these corners like randomly, like some practice squad additions, like Ryan, like Bump Cooper from the Dolphins practice squad. Like there were like slowly adding guys. Black from Oklahoma State. They claimed him from the Giants, right? Or claimed him after he was waived from the Giants. Is there maybe more to the story here? Do the Jets coaches actually look at the corner room and say, you know what, this room is actually not that good, so let's try to bolster the guys behind the starters, so when it is time to pull the plug or when we've reached that limit, we have got guys that we can just plug and play, and we don't have to say, okay, well, it's week 7 and we have to go the rest of the way with these horrible corners?
Well, to your point, if Wilkes is calling plays because he has no confidence in the players on the field, that's an enormous problem. Because then don't change the players, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, that's a very poorly constructed roster. Secondly, I think at some point Aaron Glenn's got to step in and be like, this isn't working because it's too vanilla. We're getting no results. Like, at some point you got to say, I'm taking over play calling. But to your point, keep in mind, this is their first year, 3 games. They're inheriting all this talent. You saw them in training camp, but now you're seeing them under bright lights. How do they respond against other teams? How do they respond against adversity, different offenses? And they may be saying, you know what? These guys don't play the physical style we like. There are too many penalties. They're not physical enough. They can't cover. Like, that could be to your point, saying, you know what? We're trying to make moves for this year with an eye towards next year too, where we got to get out of these players because they're not going to work for us.
Yeah, Eric, why would the Jets not have confidence in these players? They extended Sherwood and gave contracts to Stevens and Cisco. Well, true, but they never worked with these guys prior. So there is a chance that maybe they, whatever, like they misscouted the situation. And
if you don't get me started, if you give Brandon Stevens that kind of money, you better have some goddamn confidence in what he's going to do, dude. That's not.
I know. The entire fan base was.
He's as advertised. Like, he's literally as advertised. Now, I don't think DJ Reed wanted to stay here. I think he wanted to be out. I think he was done with the Jets. He wanted to go to a winning organization and start completely over. So I think there was no chance of coming back. But they doubled down with Stevens, right?
Same with Conklin too, by the way.
100% agree. 100% agree with that. But they signed Stevens, and what we're seeing now is exactly what he was in Baltimore. And Aaron Glenn, his arrogance, no, we know we can fix him, we can do that, we can fix him. Cisco, we can fix him, we can do that. At 3 games, we're not seeing it. So they better hope like hell 5 or 6 weeks from now, these guys are completely turning it around. If not, Muji and Glenn look stupid as hell. Because if we're being really honest, I'm gonna come off negative, really negative now. Look at Darren Muji's free agent class, dude. It's a disaster. No contributors whatsoever. None. Who is it? Half the guys are either traded, got hurt, or not here. You got Justin Fields. That's it. Who else is contributing?
Well, you got Josh Myers at center.
But seriously though, answer my question though. Tell me what prominent free agent they signed. They spent some money. Who is completely the star of the free agent class?
Well, I don't really think they did spend a ton of money, to be honest. They all just kind of got like backup, like placeholders to me, like Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson. I would say Cisco is probably the big. Well, I guess re-signing Sherwood was the big free agent move. Stevens, Cisco on the 1 year, Fields on offense, and that was pretty much it. But I think Muji, and I mean, again, like to your point, like you brought this up at the start, you're never going to, solve every single position of need.
Bro,
and there's a chance that
you can't, but it's not solving positions in need, but you got to at least be a contributor, be a competent football player. Like, when your tight end position is bare as hell and you're selling this on Ruckert, and like Stone Smart was your one acquisition. What the hell is he doing? Nothing. And Ruckert has what, 1 good game out of 3? Like, that's the thing. It's like, and I understand what you're saying. You can't get, 11 Pro Bowlers on each side of the ball. But you need legitimate guys that can play the game of football at a decent level where you're not embarrassing yourself.
Right, but what I'm saying here is that the Jets did address needs. We traded for Harrison Phillips. We brought in Briggs. Membu looks like a beast with a top 10 pick. I'm not saying Muji's been perfect, but I think he's addressed some needs. And the team needs list is definitely shrunk down compared to where it was in January, February. And I don't know. I just don't know.
Wait, what? How is it shrunk down?
Okay, so if we did not draft Armand Membu, who's playing right tackle?
Okay, that's it. Okay, you offensive line, you got a right tackle. Okay.
So if we didn't trade for Harrison Phillips or Juwan Briggs, who's playing D tackle?
Okay. So how did he address wide receiver? How did he address tight end? How did he address safety? How do you address the defensive end?
The go-to at corner, because Stevens hasn't worked out and Gardner has looked terrible and Michael Carter's also looked terrible. At least we have that option in Azaria Thomas, who's a mid-round selection, 3rd round. So, I just don't think you have some of the best general managers in football and they whiff. Look at the roster construction right now of the Chiefs, and their clock is ticking. With Pat Mahomes and stuff, he's not going to be, Superman forever.
They've been in the Super Bowl, won Super Bowls and stuff. They had to pay all top level talent to keep them. The Jets aren't in that boat, and I don't care about dead money. The Jets have cap space now. They made bad decisions. They made poor evaluations. It is what it is. And this has been the problem with the Jets forever. Lack of depth. You can't have a draft class as one contributor to. You need a lot more than that. Like right now, with all these players getting hurt, should be all right. The guy we drafted, you're playing. You're playing. That's what should happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think there's been. So, first off, let me just talk about this whole Mason Taylor thing. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's maybe a game plan thing. I don't know if maybe Mason is just too young. I don't know if it's the quarterback not looking his way. He just doesn't really feel like he's like a 2nd round pick. Like when I'm thinking 2nd round pick, I'm thinking starter, contributor, boom, he's in there. He's an impactful piece, offense, defense, size, speed. He can hang at the NFL level. But Mason Taylor right now doesn't really feel like he's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd option within the offense. Now, again, whatever, we're 3 games in, so that can change this week. If he pops off for 80 yards, now all of a sudden we're thinking, okay, tight end, we might actually have something here. But, until we see that, it is a question mark. And it feels right now that he hasn't really emerged yet. So yeah, the whole Mason Taylor thing is a bit of a question mark. But yeah, Muji hasn't been perfect. And also you can say, okay, well, Glenn was brought in here first. How big of a push was Glenn to go out and acquire Stevens? I want Cisco. I want Stevens. Was Muji just saying like, okay, we'll try to make it happen? Or was it Darren Muji really pushing for these guys? I don't know. Or, 50-50.
But you went to the game though. The one question I have is a lot of people are saying that Tyrod Taylor was holding on to the ball too long, and a lot of receivers were running wide open. Like Garrett Wilson was open, Mason Taylor was open. Tyrod wasn't trusting his eyes, was holding it, looking for like maybe the perfect pass. And maybe that's a problem where it could be he hasn't played the entire preseason. He didn't play all training camp. So maybe it's just rust, not knowing the offense and not being comfortable letting loose of the ball. Could that be the case why the offense was stagnant?
I just felt like it was, in the first half, it felt like Todd Bowles was just, throwing blitzes off the, weak side at Tyrod Taylor. And there was really just nothing that the offense, they didn't really have a solution. And one thing too, which I just feel like is unfair. I've seen a lot of people criticize, Tanner Ingstrand in the first half. Like, oh, you're playing Todd Bowles. He's going to blitz. You have to have a plan. You're not going to show up to game day with the perfect plan for every one of Todd Bowles' blitz packages that you could potentially see. It's just not going to happen. And then even if you do, you actually have to have the players to go out and execute those, protections and the slides in the pocket and everything. Or, if you want to even get 2 calls into the huddle to where you can have Tyrod just, instantly change it if he gets a certain look based off of percentages on a pre-snap look that he will get at the line of scrimmage, right? Based on, down distance, time in the game, where they're at in the field and whatnot. Even if you're that prepared, the players still actually have to go out and execute.
Yeah, but I guess my question for you is, and I agree with you, but do you think it seems like when other teams run quick slants or run screens, they get a significant amount of yards out of it. With the Jets, it doesn't look that smooth. They're always like, okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to agree with you. That's one thing that the Jets just don't have, like explosive playmakers outside of Garrett. Like when you're thinking about like, even if it's Fields or Taylor, doesn't matter. The only two players that you feel like can actually do damage running with the football, like yards after catch, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall.
That's it.
No one else.
But somebody like how do
you think of Allen Lazard catching a pass and then taking it upfield for 30? Or Josh Reynolds or Tyler Johnson.
But then why not try to use Aaron Smith's speed in some way? Maybe use some just take a shot downfield and do like that. But try to do some quicker passes. Get that pressure off of you and utilize some kind of skill set. Put Breece in the slot for all I care. I don't care. Make Breece a receiver. Do something different. But the defense right now is going to do the same thing every week. They're going to stack the box and blitz like crazy until you could prove you can put together some kind of passing game. And you've got to be able to adjust to it. So Angstran tried to adjust second half. He got lucky that Bulls kind of stepped back a little bit, but they did adjust to it. But that's going to be the approach for most teams going forward.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets pushed the ball down the field. How many deep shots do you remember in the Bucs game?
And the one they had, I think he dropped it.
Yeah, Bills, Steelers. We haven't really pushed the ball. And that was a big issue last year. The problem was, of course, last season, right, it's Aaron Rodgers. It's this team that has Super Bowl aspirations or a 5-win team that can't get out of their own way. This year, things are a little bit different. The expectations are different. But still, even just, it doesn't even have to be completed. The quarterbacks can just launch the ball down the field, have, just a competent play call designed for whoever, Garrett Wilson down the field, Arian Smith down the field, take your pick. Even like Breece Hall on like a delayed wheel route, out of the backfield where he's just flying up the sidelines.
Exactly.
Even just throwing the ball deep, it puts the thought in opposing safeties' heads. Because if you're game planning, if you are Anthony Weaver right now, DC of the Dolphins, he's, I would hope game planning for this Jets game, and he's watching the Steelers game, he's watching the Bills game, he's watching the Bucks game, and with going over all those plays, he's probably keeping track of, okay, run percentage, play percentage, short pass, intermediate. Are they targeting the sidelines or over the middle of the field? Are they, having long developing plays? What exactly is going wrong for them? What are they doing well? How many times is he actually going to be checking off, okay, here's a deep shot? So if he gets to the end of the tape on those 3 games and he's just they've tried to throw it one time down the field, one time in 3 games, chances are they're probably not going to do that. So in the week of preparation, it's just okay, we can maybe creep our safeties up towards the line of scrimmage. The linebackers can maybe play on their toes a little bit. Dialing up more play calls where you aren't really afraid to send a safety on a blitz or a nickel corner on a blitz or even a boundary corner on a blitz, because they're just not really going to push the ball deep. So even, let's just say you do get burned or you leave a ginormous chunk of open space deep down the field. Well, they're not going to throw it anyway. They're probably not going to, dial up a play for a player to get into that zone anyway. So screw it. Let's just roll the dice, because again, they're not even attempting it. Now I'm not saying chuck the ball deep and just have these drive killing, back breaking, what are you doing types of plays. But it would be nice to just have a classic 8-step drop, old school football play action, have the quarterback climb the pocket and just rip one for 50 yards.
Yep.
I think that would help.
No, I mean, they've got to change something up, man, because now defenses know how to attack them. Now the question is, do you think Tyrod, I think I know the answer to this, but do you think Tyrod Taylor did enough to have him start this week? Or do you think if Justin Fields is healthy, he's back being the starter?
I appreciate that, Beal. Thank you so much. I think they'll go back to Fields.
Yep. I think so too.
I think it's too early, right? Because at the end of the day, Fields did look pretty good against the Steelers. Accounted for 3 TDs, didn't turn the football over, effective on the ground, completed over 70% of his passes in the rain early on, by the way. It would be different if he was a bit, if we saw that Bills game in the Steelers game, and the only thing that we've seen from Justin Fields is just abysmal quarterback play. Yeah. I think it would be more of a conversation. And I also think if, maybe if that what was it? The second quarter pick 6 didn't happen, if Taylor just kind of played a clean game, maybe it would be more so a conversation. But we saw you had that big mistake. And you did see some positive from Fields in that first game.
But do you think there's a lot of pressure on him now coming off that really bad game where you're facing a Dolphins defense that can't give up some points, that the Jets fans like, all right, man, your last game was one of the worst of his career, if we're being honest, that there's pressure like you've got to play much better this week to kind of give everybody a little more confidence in him going forward?
1,000%. And, we were talking about the Jets team rankings before. The Dolphins are worse in literally all those categories, right? They can't get off the field on third down. They're the worst defense in football in overall time of possession, so they can't get off the field. No, part of that is the offense, right? Tua has, 4 picks in 3 games, plus a fumble lost. So, the offense is giving the ball right back to the defense. They're on the field for a long time. They've allowed the most points out of any team in the National Football League. At least with the Jets, you can say, all right, well, Rodgers, Pittsburgh, Baker, Bucks, Josh Allen, Bills. Miami, it's Josh Allen, Bills, but Daniel Jones with Indy. And who do they play in week 2? Drake May and the Patriots in the home opener. So, yeah, Miami's defense it kind of reminds me of the Jets a little bit. I was talking about this on a video I posted earlier. But it's like this unit should be so much better. Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Minka Fitzpatrick, Jordan Brooks, Kenneth Grant, first-round pick, who's a top 15 guy. Jalen Phillips. Like, they have so much talent, but the defense is horrible. And it's like, if you're a Dolphin fan watching that, you're like, what the hell's going on here? And the big difference is Glenn just showed up a couple months ago.
Yep.
McDaniel and Weaver have been here for or Weaver has only been here for like a season and a half, but McDaniel's been here for years. Like, that operation is there. The GM has been there. Like, this is the team that he's wanted to build. And it's atrocious so far. So, yeah, to answer your question, there is pressure on field. Oh, by the way, another interesting stat with this Dolphins defense. They're allowing over 78 or a completion percentage of 78, higher than 78% to opposing quarterbacks. So either receivers are getting open like crazy or quarterbacks are just being able to process and hit the open guy, no problem. So, yeah, Fields. And by the way, quick side note, last time Fields played the Dolphins, he had a pretty damn good game, but that was years ago, like 2023. But I don't know. I'm trying to find something here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm hoping for a big bounce back game from Fields. The offensive line hopefully clean some things up because several blitz pickups were terrible by Beck, by Isaiah Davis. Olu struggled a little bit, but Olu's young. He's going to figure it out. Like, I just, it's concerning, man. There's things that kind of bother you because you see what the approach should be, and then when it doesn't happen, it gets frustrating. But I think now it's like, I don't know, what would you have more confidence in this week? The Jets offense versus the Miami defense, or the Jets defense versus Miami offense? Like, which one would you have more confidence in to help win this game?
Oh, dude, for me, man, it's the Jets offense going up against this Dolphins defense. Yep. I have almost zero faith in this Jets defense, and that pains me to say it, dude. It pains me to say it, especially with Quincy being out. Now I will say the Dolphins offense has not been good. They're, ironically enough, also last in football in time of possession, right? So they're literally on the field the least amount of time compared to the other 31 teams in football.
Would you have to hide some serious holes in this defense now where you have basically one linebacker and God knows who's going to be playing next to him. You know, secondary it's struggling. To me personally, the best way to beat the Dolphins is beat up Tua and get him rattled. Get him uncomfortable in the pocket, get him moving around, just floating passes. Do you sell out and blitz like crazy? Because I do, dude. I go out in flames on Monday night. To me, it's like it's a must-win in my eyes where you don't want to lose this game because things start spiraling out of control. And then you start wondering what the hell's going on. Be aggressive and don't use the injuries as excuses. Like, come out like, you know what, next man up. But we're going to give you everything we have and make everybody uncomfortable because that's the only chance we had to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of pressure on this game, especially, too, for Miami. I think it was Peter Schrager that reported that, what was it? Like, Dolphins ownership is, like, they'll excuse the Buffalo Bills loss on prime time. But if they come back home and lose in front of their home fans while the whole world's watching on Monday night, now, like, McDaniel could be in trouble. Like, in Greer could be in trouble. So there is a ton. I would not be surprised if we actually see a decent amount of trick plays from Miami. But, dude, but
they don't even need trick plays. Put the ball in the hands of Tyreek Hill. Put the ball in Jalen Waddle, Achane. Like, they have so much speed that the Jets defense, from what we've seen the first few weeks, will be just taking, like, I don't have no confidence at all with that. Like, I don't think they have to get too tricky with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, like, one of the big problems that we've seen over the last 2 weeks, right? James Cook in Buffalo. This was a problem. You talked about the Bucky Irving play before, where like you had all this over pursuing and Bucky Irving just runs the other way. Like on a trick play, over pursuing is like exactly where you want. That's why you don't run like a trick play on the first play of the game,
right?
Because you really want to like bait them, like slip screens and stuff, like really get the defense to like play forward. And now all of a sudden it's a reverse and it's going the other way. And now with the Dolphins speed, they can just easily take it up the field or throw it down the field, whatever. Yeah, I mean, my plan of attack would be pretty simple if I'm the Jets on defense. It's crank up the heat on Tua and have my corners sit on islands. Unfortunately, play press man and really just try to knock these guys off the rhythm. Knock these guys backwards. Get your hands on them early. If you get a couple flags early, it is what it is. You just got to live with it. But I don't like the idea of having our corners playing off and giving why these Dolphins receivers with speed time to just flash over the middle of the field on crossing patterns and whatnot. I think quarterbacks have done a pretty good job when the Jets have played zone coverage like over the middle of the field. They're just finding guys and no one's even around them, and it's been super frustrating. So yeah, I think offensively though, the Jets offense, like, we got to get back to running the ball. Like, I want to see like a commitment to the ground game like Pittsburgh. Because dude, honestly, I was shocked with how many times they asked Taylor to drop back in that Bucs game early on, dude.
I like that, actually.
You do?
I do. I did, because I honestly believe that they're gonna dare you to beat you with the throw. They're gonna try to sell out to stop the run. They know Jets want to run Breece Hall. All right, we're gonna just stop it. And then what are you gonna do? So Achane came out throwing, saying, "Listen, let's get you off balance a little bit, like open up the run with the pass." I like the approach because it makes sense if you catch the ball and can complete passes. The problem that we have is when other teams pass the ball, they're wide open in space. When we pass the ball, it's all contested. Nothing ever looks easy. Nothing ever looks simple. Nobody ever looks wide open, right? They rarely do. It's got to be a pinpoint pass or something that you're fighting for it. And that's what bothers me the most. But that's, like, ground and pound sounds great, but you have to have the threat of a legitimate, consistent passing game.
I think this week, I would not be surprised, right? Fields' first game back. I'm assuming Fields' first game back here, off of the the week-long concussion protocol. I just would not be surprised if they're like, what, let's just take the wind out of the sails. Let's, yes, everyone wants to talk about Tyreek and the speed, Waddle, all these different guys. I don't know if Darren Waller's going to play this week or
he looks like he's gearing to play, they're saying.
Yeah, like, that there's going to be pressure. Mike McDaniel's going to be, in the lab trying to cook up like these creative plays and stuff throughout the week. Like, McDaniel has had the best of the Jets over these past handful of years. Saleh, Ulbrich and whatnot. Like, there's been some trash games on the Jets' part. And I'm, look, I'm hoping that we break the cycle here. But I think, it's got to be combined effort, right? Control the ball offensively. And we can't have these just critical turnovers. Like the Jets, like you mentioned, we don't have the horsepower.
Mm-mm.
We don't have the straight up talent or the offensive scheme to just, come back and drop 35 on the opponent. If we had maybe a couple more wide receivers and maybe a more efficient quarterback down the field, maybe. And maybe a more experienced offensive coordinator. But just right now, it just feels like the offense is built to get a lead and just kind of sustain it.
Yeah, but their recipe for winning is running the football, be very physical, sound tackling, and get turnovers and no penalties. They're not doing any of that, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of penalties, no tackling whatsoever, can't run the football. Like, their blueprint isn't working because they're not really doing any of those things. So to me, it's like you look like the offense probably has to score 30 points to win Monday night. They have to, because I can't see the defense doing much at all. You have two linebackers out. The safeties are a complete disaster. And the Dolphins are going to take advantage of it. So this is a challenging one, man. There's a lot of pressure, not pressure, but this is a really good challenge for Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks to see how do you start making up for these deficiencies, your holes in your defense. You can't mail it in. It's week 4. Figure it out.
Yeah.
So, who's Mark Robinson, the guy they signed today? Did you know anything about him?
Yeah, so he was a like a special team linebacker for New England. He's played in 17 games in back-to-back seasons, so he's contributing and whatnot, but he's not this go-to starting option like immediately. It's not like the Jets signed New England starter here or anything like that.
So who's going to be playing opposite Jamie and Sherwood?
I think it's going to be Mawaga.
He looks slow, man.
I think he's looked pretty good, understanding, 5th-round pick rookie.
It's just, what's up, Green Bean? Good to see you, man. Green Bean's video, the one he posted about the Jets are against us, was one of the funniest things I watched today. It was hysterical.
Where's he at? Oh, found him. Cool. Green Bean, what's going on, man? I haven't checked it out. Let me
it's hysterical, man. I love that one.
Let me actually search it up now. I'll save it for after and watch it. But hope you're doing well, man.
So you're looking at this game. So they made the move. They traded for a corner. They signed a linebacker. And I guess we're probably get the injury update tomorrow for Jermaine Johnson, Sauce, and everybody else. But, you got to look at Michael Clemens is going to be still has a big role in this defense, which to me is wild, dude. Like, I don't genuinely understand that, what their fascination is with him. But they keep rolling him out and saying he's good, where he's got more penalties than he has impact plays. You know what I mean? It's just I don't get it.
I don't understand it either, man. I don't understand it. It seemed like the previous staff was tied to Clemens as well. I guess the short answer is the Jets just don't have depth.
So what's your optimal result Monday? Like, obviously, you want to see the Jets win, right, on Monday night. But what do we need to see out of this? Because right now you're looking at they've been, for the most part, a disappointment this season for a lot of different levels. Minus, the Steeler game, they scored some points. He felt good. After that, it's been Buffalo was a complete waste. This game, you saw 3 quarters of bad, 1 quarter good. What do you really need to see Monday night to make you feel a little bit better about the progress of this team?
Well, unfortunately, Miami's, just to be frank, they stink, right? They're not good. Despite the amount of star power they have, they're not a good football team, right? That's just what the numbers say. And I've never been the type of guy to be like, black, white, win, loss. Okay, we win the game, but that just, great. Nothing matters. We won the football game. Let's ignore all the problems, right? There was a lot of games like that in the Saleh era, like specifically in year 2, where like the Jets would have these awesome wins, but there were like major problems taking place, but they would like squeak it out. They would find a way to, get the W, and it would be like a rejoice, like, yeah, the Jets won it, won a game. We're going to turn it around. But because those like deep rooted issues were never fixed, like that's, I think, why you continuously saw like loss after loss after loss. And it was never like, you just never really felt like the Jets were able to like completely right the ship or turn that corner. It was always just like, we can scrap together wins here and there, but it was never just like, we're winning because we're just flat out better than you, no matter what. So for me, it's not even just about like winning the game, because if we win the game, but we give up another 30-point showing on defense, and it's the offense having to kind of play chess, go back and forth with McDaniel. Like, yeah, it'll give me some confidence in the offense. Sweet. But understanding that we are playing the by the numbers, the worst defensive football, that'll make me feel good, right, about the offense. But defensively, it's just like, you kind of just get back to square one when you start talking about the next week, which I believe is Denver on the London game. So it's just like, okay, like I don't really feel much better about the Bronco game if the defense just continues to look like this. In other words, win or loss. Now, if the defense, again, win or loss, is dominant and they're getting after Tua and maybe they pick the ball off or they land on a fumble for once or something and they give up 13 points, 10 points or something, then it's just like, whoa, again, whether the Jets win or lose, I can say, okay, you know what? We've seen some growth from the defense. 3 weeks into the season, it hasn't been good, but this 4th week, we've seen some major strides here. And this is something that I think we can build upon moving forward, where at least you're hanging your hat on something. Okay, the defense can do this well, X well. Maybe we can see it stay the same or even get better against Denver the following week. And then
I think it's the Cowboys, right? It's the Cowboys. I think they're saying the Cowboys is after the.
Is it Cowboys week 4?
Yeah, I remember seeing the commercials on TV endlessly.
Oh, week 5. Okay.
This is real quick.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. They never fall on a fumble, and like
Cowboys then Denver.
Cowboys then. Okay, gotcha. And then who's after Denver? I think it's New Orleans.
Panthers.
Carolina. Okay, New Orleans, I believe, is week 14.
Yeah. So, but to your point though, what you want to see is, to me, like, okay, I'll ask you this question,
Dylan. What's up, man?
For the Tampa game, to me, they came out flat, which was kind of disappointing. Like on offense, they marched right down, kicked the field goal, but they just seemed like they didn't have that. I don't know. After their scripted plays, whatever, they kind of fell off a little bit. Where I thought coming off the Buffalo game, they should come out pissed off and like, listen, man, we got to turn this around fast. They didn't have the energy I was kind of hoping for. Did you feel like that way, or you felt okay the way they started? Because I felt like they just weren't. Something seemed off.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of felt like. Well, I do think we have to credit Baker. He's playing unbelievable football, man. Like I was shocked just kind of being at the stadium and watching it in real time. Like he was, and I went to a Bucs training camp practice, and he didn't look like anything close to the training camp performance. Like against the Jets, he was just dropping footballs in buckets down the field, over the middle of the field, on the sidelines, getting it like right over the shoulder of the of the corner, and the pass catcher just right in the breadbasket, just easy pitch and catch. But like the level of difficulty for these specific throws were actually pretty tough. You just kind of felt like Baker was hanging in there. He was extending plays. That was another thing that I felt like killed the Jets. Like, because you saw the Bucs having like problems on the offensive line, holding Quinnen Williams, holding these guys. They just couldn't like contain them without committing a penalty. There were a lot of Bucs fans there complaining about the refs, like, oh, it's rigged. Nah, it's just like these guys are just not skilled enough to go up against the Jets D line. So they're like forced to hold and forced to, drag guys to the ground. But yeah, I do see what you're saying. Like they didn't come out with that urgency, especially on defense, man, because they just went right down the field. I think they got a field goal first, and then it was just kind of the back to the same old stuff that we saw against the Bills, where they're just down early in the game. What was it, 13-6? And then you had the Tyrod Taylor pick right before halftime, bumps the lead up, and the Bucs were getting it in the second half. And at that point, I'm like, I just can't see a Jets comeback. And they actually did, to their credit, but they couldn't secure it. So I'm hoping that Glenn and co, they just utilize that, or they look at that as a lesson. It's not over until it's over.
Oh, and the one thing is, you want to see them come out like that. Monday Night Football, come out fast, come out fired up, come out, act like you want to change what's happening here. Be a difference maker. Don't just fall in line like, oh, we're losing again, this is what's happening. No, you have to, like, you want to see this pride and this energy that Aaron Glenn kind of keeps talking about. You actually want to see it translate on the field in a very winnable game. Like, come out like you actually want to win this game, right? Like, that's like when you walk away from this, say, listen, you got their best effort. Solid physical defense, physical on offense. They were aggressive. They made plays. They created things. That's what you kind of want to hope for. That's what you want to walk away from. Like, all right, like Aaron Glenn keeps saying, like a team you can be proud of, play like that Monday night in a rivalry game where you're 0-3 and you want to turn around as soon as possible.
So I know you don't want to do it, but we got to talk about it. What's your level of concern if the Jets were to lose Monday?
You're the positive one, dude. I've been doom and gloom for 50 minutes already on this thing. And to everybody watching this, I apologize. I just hate losing. And I hate terrible defense, and I hate excuses. So I apologize for my demeanor tonight. This team really pisses me off. I've been mad all week. I've been mad for 2 weeks now. My vibe going into Monday, I want to believe, but the injuries now, knowing that the Jets defense sucks, and now you're taking away Quincy Williams, who's probably one of their best players. He was flying around on Sunday. He was making a lot of plays. He got hurt. It's hard to see how McDaniel won't light up Steve Wilkes, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I honestly think that Justin Fields they have to score 30 points to win this game. I genuinely think that, because the speed on offense against the Jets defense that's injured and lost, I think they're going to score at will on us. I genuinely think that, because especially if Jermaine Johnson doesn't play. Jermaine Johnson's going to be huge, man, if he comes back.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I don't know. Do you know the status on that? I know we're gonna get like
Tomorrow,
the
I guess
official
they
injury
say,
report.
yeah.
Man, if he misses this game too, with no Quincy, yeah, I don't know, man. Like we got to see something on the D. And to be fair, like one thing that Glenn did say in the presser, which is it's a fact, it's very very simple, it's very obvious, we all know this, but it kind of just brought me back down to earth a little bit. It was in the Monday presser after the game, I think it was, or could have even been after the Bucks game when I was driving back. But he said, we're 3 games into the season out of, and then he asked the reporter, and the reporter was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm thinking about that, like, man, there's a lot of football left to be played. There's a lot of, time for growth and whatnot to really see this team blossom. But until we actually see that, we're all just kind of waiting. When is it going to turn around? When is it going to turn around? When is it going to? And no one ever really thought that the Jets were going to come out of the gate 3-0. We knew.
Yeah, but like we've lowered the bar. We've lowered our standard. We've lowered our expectations. We want to see competent football. That's all we're asking for. Just be competent on defense, be efficient on offense, play physical, and don't self-destruct. That's all we're asking for. I'm not asking for a lot, man. Seriously, that's it.
Yeah, right.
You didn't see it against Buffalo. A good portion of the Tampa Bay game, we didn't see it. So then the whole thing we talked about in the whole offseason, Ian, was like, get better as the season moves along. Establish your identity. Establish your cornerstones. Right now, we don't have any of that. Right now, we have more questions than answers. We don't know what the hell we're doing on either side of the ball. Now, Justin Fields coming back can help that a lot. All right, that's our quarterback. He can run more. He can do more things. You can maybe establish things then, but you don't. It's like previewing this game, dude. We obviously have no idea what to expect at all on Tuesday. The injury report's a big factor, but it's tough, dude. My level of confidence going this game is
sounds confident.
I'll say 6. I'll say 6 if Justin Fields plays.
Okay.
I can't do it, dude. Injuries are killing me. This defense is a disaster.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we sound like a broken record, but like, how is the defense just this bad? It's doesn't make much sense.
But I'll say this: it can't be an excuse. The staff has to figure out ways to, we're trying to enjoy it, man. But when you're playing like this, is hard. But the defense has to find a way to maximize their resources. Don't next man up has been the Aaron Glenn's mantra. Okay, who's your next man? They got to play well. Like a lot of teams throughout the NFL are dealing with injuries. It's not an anomaly for the Jets. So you see, good teams are dealing with them. Next man up, play better, adjust your scheme, play physical, and don't beat yourself.
Mm-hmm. Dude, this Bucks game kind of reminded me of like that first year in Detroit. First year in Detroit of the Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn era, where it was like, somehow they find a way to keep it close in the end, no matter like just how bad, how poor everything was going on. Like one thing that really pissed me off too, man. Again, I don't want to make this, entire stream just like a big vent session, but bro, like coming into the game, the Bucks had all these injuries, right? Mm-hmm. They were flagged 14 times. Mm-hmm. And they had so many drops.
Yep.
And
they're trying to give the game away. They were literally trying to give the game away to the Jets, and the Jets couldn't take advantage of it.
Igbuka had a drop. Mike Evans had a drop.
Jade Otten had a big one.
Yup. Like there were moments where it was like it could have been worse. Guys wide open over the middle of the field dropped. And I don't know, man. Like the defense, like my patience is running thin. And I've always, like, I came into the season predicting 6 wins, right, from this Jet squad. I think I had them starting like 1-7, 1-6 or something, but finishing strong with the 6 W's, like, to kind of close the season out. And we're still on pace for that. So like to my like standard that I thought, or that I put on the Jets coming into the season, like they're I guess they're right on par. But so I how mad can I really be? But then you're actually watching the games and you're just seeing like this, just the problems on defense. And again, I don't want to, I'm not some sort of anti-defense, and I'm not here saying Fields is amazing and Tanner Engstrand's top 5 or anything. Obviously not. But the reason why I don't come down on the offense so hard is because it's so, wide receivers just so bad. It's so thin. Engstrand's a rookie OC. The quarterback position is a question mark. We don't have our best offensive lineman in AVT. So we're down a guy there. It's going to be kind of learn as you go. Tanner Strand is not working with, he doesn't have Sean McVay to hold his hand, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid. No, this is Tanner's offense, and he's doing what he wants to do. Yep. So, yeah, of course, we have to let that, grow and develop over time. Whereas Wilkes has been in the league since the early 2000s, I believe late 90s, calling defense, being around defenses, being a DB coach. How is the DB play this bad? Mm-hmm. It's not like we're rolling out 4 undrafted free agents that are all rookies. No, this is the highest paid corner in football, and he's being targeted by Grizzard and Baker. He's being targeted. Where is Gardner? We're throwing that way.
Yep, they're not scared.
What is happening? Michael Carter, again, shell of himself. I hope it turns around, man. I really do. And that's why, I look at a guy in C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is an Aaron Glenn guy. He was there in New Orleans. Glenn was in New Orleans when he was drafted, 4th rounder, coming in out of UF. Glenn developed him. And then that was one of the big name free agent acquisitions in Detroit. So you obviously have that player to coach relationship there. You mean to tell me he's not only just the best safety, or would be walking in as easily the best safety on the team for sure, probably the best DB, assuming Gardner continues to look like this. Mm-hmm. He's a veteran. He's 27. He fits the system. He knows Glenn. He could be a coach on the field. And he's
not a good locker room guy, reportedly, though.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is like he hates losing. He wants to win. He doesn't like when players, take plays off or screw up. And so he's on them. Like he'll yell, he'll get vocal and be like, what the hell are you guys doing and stuff like that. Maybe that's what that could be a negative for 31 teams in football, but for the Jets right now, could that actually be a positive?
Dude,
have like an actual, especially with no Quincy.
Dude, because it's funny. I was thinking the same thing. We actually need a jerk. We need a jerk because the Jets have a bunch of really nice guys. Guys are very easy to root for. But who's the jerk to be like, you're not doing your job. Like just like kind of ruffle some feathers and be like the Jets way back when had Brian Cox would do that. They had guys that Bart Scott was kind of a jerk sometimes. Like they had those guys where it's like, all right, make things uncomfortable a little bit around here. Like let's raise our. Maybe that's the guy. Like I wouldn't hate it. I mean, at this point, it's worth the shot because the safeties suck.
Yeah, and it's week 3 in the middle of the regular season. He's not going to be like, I want $20 million. I want 15. Bro, this guy had 6 picks last year for the Eagles. He could play free safety. He could play strong safety. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I understand that, Glenn is trying to build a culture up. And, you got to get guys in the building that you can build around. And Glenn did say that he wants to start and play young players. But we traded for Harrison Phillips. No one forced the Jets to do that. They went out and they did that. They got a really good deal, but he could have started Leonard Taylor. He could have started one of these younger guys, to stick to that formula, but he didn't. So to me, it just makes too much sense, in my opinion.
No, listen, I'm up for any kind of move to upgrade the roster at this point because you got to find answers. And like I'm with K, dude, I'd put Steven to safety, start AZ Thomas. I have no problem doing that. Make as many moves as possible. You got to find what's working for you.
Right. Yeah, I think were we texting about this earlier? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Again, Azaria Thomas looked like he belonged. Granted, it was just like 10, 12 plays or something, but like from what I counted, but he looked impressive to me.
Nope.
Not saying he's amazing, but if I don't mind us rolling out the same starting lineup again for Miami, but at halftime, if you're getting just ripped apart, make the change.
And to the other thing I would do is at some point, Aaron Glenn, I wouldn't mind if he gets more involved in the defense. Like, listen, if you see your defense getting scorched again for the 4th week in a row at halftime, like, listen, man, we've tried it your way. It's not working. Now I'm calling the plays here. Like, you got to figure he has veto power now where he hears a play call. He can make a change if he wants to. But if he keeps playing this way, like, I don't care about Wilkes' ego or personality or anything else. He's going to be a one and done anyway. It's not going to be here next year. So if he has to take in and call the plays, go for it. Do it. I don't care.
Yeah. I think
right? Would you do that or no?
How soon are you talking?
I mean, if they give up 21 points in the first half this week.
Yeah, I mean, if the Jets decided to, I don't know if I would do that if I was the head coach, but if the Jets decide to do that, I wouldn't be one to disagree.
It could be the way the Jets handle things. It could be subtle. We don't even have to know it. Like the Jets keep everything. They do a really good job of hiding everything. We don't know what's going on in the office. If they do that and don't tell us, fine. But if you see like if you're getting your, if it's 21-7 in the first half and they can't cover anybody, I wouldn't mind Aaron Glenn get a little more involved in defense, man. Hey, listen, desperate times, desperate measures.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the right idea, right? I would rather see Glenn fight and try something new, swing for the fences as opposed to strike out looking.
100%. Or have like your scapegoat and your fall guy. Like, well, this is Wilkes' defense. We're trying to figure it out. No, this is your team, your vision, your plan. Apparently, Wilkes is running Aaron Glenn's defense. Well, if he's running and not doing it, who better to run than him? It's his defense. Like, and again, it's only week 4, but it's just you're seeing alarming stats. You're seeing gross football. You can't let it keep going on. It's like, oh, it's only week 3. Oh, it's only week 6. Oh, it's only week 9. Next thing you know, the season's over. So, got to figure it out.
Yeah, well, bro, Monday is going to be freaking insane. I mean, it's Tuesday, and I'm already starting to feel weird about it. Not like the Jets are going to blow it or anything, but just like, God, like this is supposed to be kind of like the rebuild, like ground zero year where they're just starting to build the foundation. It just feels like there's so much pressure on Glenn. One thing I think is kind of ridiculous is like the thought of firing Glenn.
No.
Because I've gotten a couple texts from some buddies saying like, yo, how long until Glenn gets fired? And I texted my buddy back. I'm like, 3 years. He's just like, 3 years. Yeah, they've sucked. I'm like, it's 3 games. And he's a Lions fan who texted me that. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Glenn came from you guys and you were hyping him up.
No, so, I mean, if anything, what I think as fans, we got to start thinking about is how many of our favorite players may be grossly overrated. And that's kind of scary. Quinn Williams is a beast, great player. I mean, Garrett Wilson's being a contributor. He could have came back the ball, but he didn't. But Garrett's good. But it's like, if you go into Monday night saying, you know what, Sauce Gardner's going to lock him down, and this guy's going to do this, and this guy's going to do that. If you knew like your stars are going to be stars, you'd feel a lot better about it. But none of them are. Like you don't have it. Like that's the kind of the more concerning thing out of all of this. No identity. Nobody really like head above everybody else. Minus like Quinnen. I mean, Briggs has been good. Phillips has been good. But other than that, man, it's been slim pickings in terms of guys that are like really standing out.
Yeah, I mean, I will say on offense, I think Garrett has done his thing. He could have came back to the ball. Whatever. Like through 3 games, I like what I'm seeing from Garrett Wilson. He's the only freaking option that we have in the passing game. Breece Hall, I think, has also looked good. And I also kind of feel like he's been underutilized to a certain degree. I would really like to see him just get a ton of carries this week. Just feed him.
Yep.
But defensively, I mean, we've talked, for an hour about it. Gardner, Carter, all these different guys. You know what it really feels like? If the Jets had assuming Jermaine is 100% healthy, if we had one more veteran pass rusher that was good for like 7 sacks in rotation minutes, and our corners and safeties could cover better and take better angles to the football, I think this defense could be so much better. So much better. And it just sucks because it's like we're right there. It's not like, oh, we can't stop the run, we can't rush the passer, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that. It's just like a couple of things but it's just not in arms, within an arm's reach. It's just like it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, we have to wait until free agency or the draft to really knock these issues out. But it's just like I don't want to wait that long, man. Like, gosh, it's tough. It's tough.
No, I mean it's really difficult because you see the holes and and you want to address them as fast as you can, but it's like, and then another week, and then it's like what's unfortunate for Aaron Glenn is we have 14 years of anger pent up in us that as a first time head coach, he's not getting a lot of the leadway because we're still mad at Salah's bad defense last year. Like all these, and I know I'm doing that. I get caught up with like, oh, this defense sucks again. Well, it's like, it's only Aaron Glenn's 3rd game in this defense, but it's like. You're seeing those things, so it brings back that like PTSD of like, oh, here we go again. This sucks, which is unfair as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like, trying to think of like an example. It's almost like if a failing restaurant hires like an amazing chef, like like, is he going to turn around this restaurant and make it this, amazing place within the first 3 weeks?
Can I combat that though? I think the problem also is that. We were under the impression as fans, or thinking as fans, the last 2 years was Super Bowl or bust. Aaron Rodgers, Jets, loaded talent. This team has so much talent. this is one of the best teams in the AFC. We thought that the last 2 years, like this is a playoff team. And now it's like, okay, new coach. This isn't like Robert Saleh's first year. It's like, oh, JV team, we have no talent. We gave him a red shirt year that year. Don't worry about it. It's going to take us a year to gather talent. In my world, they have talent. The new coach should have made the talent better, and they should be playing a lot better. And that's where, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm struggling with it. I just thought the team would be better because there was a group of guys that can just play at a higher level, and they're not doing that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point. But then it goes back to, well, the Jets, you know, these guys were out there. These guys were healthy. And it resulted in 5 wins. You know, Rodgers didn't miss 10 games. Oh, he's hurt. You know, Gardner, like he's out there, and you know, he's got outside of Jermaine Johnson, of course, but 5-win team. You know, it's
true.
I just don't know. Like, it's almost like the expectation kind of hovered. Like it's like going into last year. It's like Super Bowl. Like that's our goal, right? We're all in with Rodgers and Hackett and trying to trade for Devontae, all these things. Hassan Reddick deal, another bright spot of the Douglas era. But so, you know, fan expectation is high coming into the season, and it all falls apart, right? So we're actually down here, like the Jets 5 wins, like this is actually how good we are, but it's just like, man, the expectation was here. We should be a lot better. And so we get into this year, and it's just like, for the most part, it's a lot of the same players. The expectation, I think, has just dropped only a little bit. Like, you know, I don't like the double standard of, you know, and I understand being pissed and being upset about your favorite team losing, but I don't like the total freak out of, you know, fire everyone, same old Jets, whatever. Like, you know, Glenn did just get here, and he's trying, in my opinion, he's trying his best to clean up a lot of dysfunction. And I mean, how many times did, you know, we mentioned this back in January, right? Talking about coaching candidates and stuff. The Jets are going to need a leader. This is a big job. You can't just waltz in here and just get us to the playoffs. No problem. You know, this is not a team that has like a top 3, top 5 ownership team. This is a team that has a lot of losing over the last 10 years. So, and also this weird stigma around it in a weird media market with leaks coming out of the building left and right. Like, you know, I'm sorry we didn't beat the Bills in week 2. You know, like, and again, I thought that we were going to look better, but I just don't feel like that total we're out on these guys because, you know, let's just kind of play into that. If the Jets were to fire Glenn,
they're not,
you know, which they're not going to do, but think about just the fan optic from outside of Jets fans, like coaching candidates, like, oh yeah, the team that fired Saleh like a month into the year, Ulbrich was a disaster. You bring in Glenn, one of the top coaching candidates, and he's out after a year. It's just like, why would I want to go there?
Especially a former player that's like loves the team. But I think the one thing is that, right, it's a former player that actually loves the team. You find with the 1 year, it'd be just, it's lunacy. He's not going anywhere. But I think he's probably realizing right now is that you have to teach this team how to win, how to change your mindset, how to change your ways. Like, I think every Jet fan, me included, when Will McDonald scored, I was so fired up. I looked at the clock and I'm like, we're losing this game because there's way too much time. This defense can't stop anybody. They never do in the fourth quarter. They never secure games. And that's something that Glenn's got to change because now it's like it's happened to him twice. Steeler game, this game, they found ways to lose. When this culture change is going to be changing your mindset in the locker room, changing your approach, having these guys buy in, actually believing they can win these games. Not be like, oh, here we go again. This is the same old Jets. That's a big job for Glenn in itself, man.
It's a big job for anybody, dude. You know, Mike Vrabel hasn't had smooth sailing in New England, dude. 1-2.
Pete Carroll with the Raiders
didn't look good. Yeah, Pete Carroll and the Raiders, man. I don't want to bring up any teams that has had like a big injury, you know, Joe Burrow with the Bengals or anything, but you know, Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski's been here for how long? Mike McDaniel's been here for how long? And there's tons of problems. You know, Brian Dable, same old story there. 0-3. They're moving on to Jackson Dart. I think that situation is just not going to go well.
Nope.
Even KC's 1-2. So not, you know, comparing the Jets to Kansas City, but it's just like, you know, teams lose games and
that good real thing. K-Dude's point, the Texans are a mess too.
Dude, what is going on with Houston, man? Stroud looks weird.
Terrible.
Cutting Gardner Johnson after he was like, you know, this big time piece that they added. Strange, man. Strange. Who did Who did the Texans play? They lost to the Rams in week 1, the Jags in week 3. Do you remember who the Texans played in week 2?
Was it the Colts? No, it wasn't the Colts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember who they played. Oh, no, not Cleveland. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't know what the hell is going on in Houston, man. Yeah, Seth. So yeah, I think that's gonna yeah, Bucks. Good call. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us, man. Is there anything else that you wanted to dive into?
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna get roasted in the comments on this video. I know I'm gonna get roasted, so I apologize for being so negative. I honestly can't help it. I just can't watch bad defense week in and week out and then listen to excuses. And the way they're losing is ridiculously frustrating for me. So I try to find positives. I'm never saying fire Aaron Glenn. I'm not saying anything like that, but like some of this stuff to me on a football fundamental level is just inexcusable for any coaching staff. Doesn't matter who it is. So I'm just really, really frustrated right now.
Yeah, so Monday's gonna be nuts, dude. Monday Night Football. And granted, I think
your level of confidence is what?
My level of confidence is a freaking 10 out of 10 for this game. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
You're guaranteeing a Jets victory? That 10's telling me you're guaranteeing a Jets victory right now.
I'll go 9.5. 9.5. I'm not going to guarantee it. I'm not going to go full Joe Namath and guarantee it, but 9.5, dude. I think Fields keeps the ball on the ground. I think Breece Hall, Braylon. I'll feel better about the game if we have Jermaine Johnson, but I think this is the week where we get that first W, man.
Can you imagine we have a stream where they actually won a game? It seems like it's been a decade since that's happened.
I know, man. I know. And it's like, bro, even last season, like that, I remember, what was it, week 2 against the Titans was the first one of the year, and that was just like a weird, like, Titans kind of blew it. The Will Levis play, the turnover. It's like you didn't even feel confident after that win. It's like the Jets like escaped and we're like, all right, I guess we'll take it. But yeah, hopefully we don't have like a performance like that. But yeah, I'm looking for some growth. And if I'm Glenn, you can kind of like use this as like a rallying cry. Like you have examples that you can point to, like the end of the Bucks game, end of the Steelers game, whatever. You can talk about like Gibson's fumble. Like there's clear real life things that have happened this season that you can point to and say, this cannot happen again.
Yep.
Like this is the moment where we're getting punched in the mouth. We have to get back up. We're 0-3. Everyone's making fun of us. Everyone's counting us out. Quincy Williams, we need, again, kind of like use this to motivate the guys, and I know that might sound like a little college-y, a little like high school football, but and you could definitely say like, like the millionaires are trying in the game, that type of thing. Like that should not be something that an NFL team should be hanging their hat on, like his effort. But I think when it comes to the Jets, dude, like we got to turn it around in one way or another. I have confidence in Glenn. I have confidence in the system, but it's just like, man, we're all just kind of anticipating, okay, when is this and I'm not talking like, okay, hold Tua to, 3 points offensively and pick them off 3 times, but just, is it reasonable? Is it manageable, average to above average defense? Like that's really all I think a lot of us are asking for.
All right. So you all heard it here first. Ian guaranteed victory Monday night. So if it doesn't happen, Tuesday's going to be a lot of fun.
Dude, oh my God. If we're 0-4 in sole possession of last place in the AFC East, I think at that maybe we'll fire up a mock draft after Tuesday night.
I can't. No, we can't talk draft in October. That's like our yearly tradition. We can't do it this year. We got to hope for a win, man. We have.
I was working on some scouting reports earlier for some players. So yeah, we'll see. Thanks so much for everyone tuning in, hanging out. Obviously, next week we're going to be over on Tyson's channel. And by the way, shout out to Dylan, who was hanging out in the chat, Green Bean, who was hanging out in the chat. Go check them out as well. So yeah, thanks so much, and as always, go Jets.